I wanna kill, I wanna destroy, I wanna use my energy to fill the void. I shall travel through time to the depths of the mind, power my dreams with destiny divine.
Howzit, welcome trek all to my Afrikaans-speaking followers, kia ora to any of my Kiwi whānau, welcome back to anyone else. So you guys already know what time it is. We're up for one of the biggest games of the year, but before we get into it, I just want to thank each and every one of my followers on here. I do appreciate you guys continuing to support what I do here in America as a Springbok fan, as a rugby fan. With an American accent, you guys know how much I love this game and how much I appreciate. This is a hobby of mine. I really enjoy it, the continued support you guys give. I do promise you, after this weekend, this will not be the background for the video. I ordered a shed on Amazon. I'm currently assembling it. I've got like the cuts on my fingers from already doing it, but unfortunately we had a cool front blow in through the North Texas area here. It has been a rainy night and day. I'm to that point, I think, in my age now to where, yeah, I feel it when it rains and it doesn't feel very good anymore. My wife's had that for a number of years, but I'm getting to those. I'm getting up there in years, boys. You know how it is. But before we get into this important match, there's a couple of news and notes that I wanted to bring up. And the first one that we've got to bring up, I will throw the graphic up here on the screen. I would buy that jersey. This is the joke jersey that's been going around. The Franco Mostert red card overturned. I think all of us, you saw my boy Brett Crow, you saw my opinions on it, you saw all the opinions online about it, even Eddie Jones. This has been, not just for the Springboks, but the game Japan and Wales. You saw some iffy calls. This has been a series of really cuck officiating. We've seen the TMOs really bringing it to a lot of these calls. There's been multiple overturned. You had the All Blacks versus Ireland. That got overturned. Franco Mostert got overturned. The Japan-Wales game one got overturned this last weekend. And you're seeing this is some really bad officiating coming in here. Hopefully this weekend it's not so bad. But, it's definitely something that, we've known about. Now, we do get a lot of crap as Springbok fans because we whine about the officiating, but I think this is one of those times where it's like, now you see why. Because it's not just us, it's everybody at this point. So, great thing. Obviously, Mostert would be available for this weekend, but I didn't even have him dressing. I did a prediction squad. I'll try to throw that up. This was my predicted squad. I wasn't too far off. But also, we have to bring up, without mentioning, and give me a second here, as I've got all these graphics, we now know all 24 teams that have qualified for the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia, as Samoa tied Japan but got through on the point aggregate at the Rep Charge tournament held this last week. Namibia did not qualify. This was kind of a devastating thing for them. Our neighbors to the west, formerly Southwest Africa. When this happened, I made a video over on over here on TikTok, kind of mentioning how, like, hey, those guys are our brothers, man. And it's rough to see them struggle the way they have, but congratulations to Samoa. Like I said, the 24th team selection is coming up here in just, I think, about 15 days time, 12 days time. We will have the selection show. Of course, I will do a post-game video of that to talk about the pools. Right now, currently, the Springboks at number 1, but I did do another graphic just last night showing what all 24 teams are ranked. You have 1 through 25 is what we have on here. The only team that's ranked higher that did not make it is Belgium. They're ranked 22nd. You never know how these kind of rankings can go, but it is what. And the next big bit of news. World Rugby Awards have been announced. I will pop up the graphic here. We have the 4 players nominated for World Player of the Year. And after a lot of the things that I saw on X and Twitter the last week or 2 weeks or so, it kind of was a lot of South Africans, like World Rugby has it out for us. And then you get this with 3 Springboks and a single French player being nominated. I've got no complaints. I do have a complaint. There is a certain player that I felt like should have really made this that did not, and I had a lot of people kind of come to my aid and agree. Pablo Matera. And as much as it's stinging pride to say this, I would take out Malcolm Marks and put Pablo Matera on that list. He became the most capped Argentine player. He's an absolute workhorse. Bit of controversy early in his career, but he's been relatively scot-free since then. He is such a, we saw what he did coming off the bench against Scotland last week. Should have been Pablo Matera, but if you ask who I'm rooting for in this I would like to see history made. Oxenche, I think he should have got it last year. Let's get it to Oxenche. I mean, salads don't win scrums, and he is, without a question, the most dominant prop in the entire world, and we're playing without him now, and it hurts. It hurts. So, good luck to whoever, all four candidates. Bilberry, even though I'm not a big French fan. Good luck to everybody. Every one of these guys deserves it if they win. And then moving on to the Breakthrough Player of the Year, we will have the Australian Joseph Suaalai'i, the center. We have the Dutchman Fabian Holland for the All Blacks. We have the stalwart newcomer center wing Ethan Hooker. Congratulations once again, first try this last week against Italy. And Henry Pollock. Now, I put this graphic up for a reason, to show how many minutes these players have played in the last year. And I have already been making my rounds around social media, this whole Henry Pollock situation. Putting him up against the photo of Owen Farrell. I have a different name for him that I'm not going to say on this show today, but you guys know what I call him. His famous stare down at the 2019 Rugby World Cup semi-final. They've been putting that with the clip of this young man licking his lips and like, look, I know he's 20 years old. He's a kid, and I know different generations, but like, I come from the generation where you don't look at another man and lick your lips. There's no circumstances ever for you to do that. You look at a nice big chop on the braai and you lick your lips. You look at a nice piece of boerewors and you lick your lips. You don't look at another man and lick your lips. And that's kind of the thing that I've been hitting at a lot on social media as far as like my distaste. This young man's, it was just poor taste. And like I said, under no circumstances, at least in the world I grew up in, do you look at another man and lick your lips. Now, I could understand maybe if he had chapped lips and he did it once, like that's, like that. But this guy was doing it intently and staring at these guys. It's not, cringe. But I really don't see why he's even on this list. I've seen the argument, he did well with the U20s. That's not what this list is for. Well, he did well with the British and Irish line. Yeah, that's not real tests, guys. Despite what you think, that's not real tests. That's an all-star team playing the Wallabies. I'd like it to be Ethan Hooker, but personally, honestly, if I had to really break it down to these four, there's no question. It's Fabian Holland. The Dutchman has come on and become a stalwart on that All Black lock. And we've always known, outside of Scott Barrett, we've always known the All Blacks to have solid locks. I mean, I still think the Brodie Retallick, Sam Whitelock era of the All Blacks, I mean, I put them up against Bockies and Victor, and then later Victor and Eben. They were that damn good. So Fabian, in order to be a stalwart at lock, unless your name is Scott Barrett, you've really got to work your way into it for the All Blacks. And I think Fabian Holland is definitely the future. He could have a Retallick, Sam Whitelock type career if he keeps on the trajectory he's going. But good luck to all of those guys except Henry Pollock, who has absolutely no business even on this sheet. And now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, as they say. There's no real reason to talk about the records, but I'll throw up the last 4 games. This is a graphic that's been floating around. Obviously, the only win you have is at altitude. We are 1-4 against Ireland in the last 5 games. We have not won at Dublin, I think, in 13, 14 years. So the history is definitely on the side of Ireland at this time. But I think, this is going to be a proper game. Like I said, there's a lot of people that tried to hype up the All Blacks versus England as the biggest game in this series, or even Springboks versus France. Those were not the biggest game. To me, this is the biggest game. The All Blacks didn't have a bad record to England before that game. We don't have a bad record to France. We have a bad record to Ireland. And that's why I think this game is so important. So let's go ahead and get into Andy Farrell's 23-man squad, tasked with defending that 4-1 over the last 5-game record against the Springboks. So the starting front row will consist of Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, and Tadhg Furlong. The locking duo will be James Ryan and Todd Byrne. Ryan Baird, Josh Vanderfleer, and Kalen Doris captains the side will be the loose trio. New Zealand-born Jamison Gibson Park will get the start at 9, and the new youngster, the hot new kid for Ireland and Leinster, all Leinster duo there at 9 and 10, Sam Prendergrass will get the start at fly half. Midfield combo of Bundy Aki and Gary Ringrose, with the back three of James Lowe, Tommy O'Brien, and Australian-born Mac Hansen. Andy Farrell has elected to go with a 5-3 split coming off of the bench. The front row replacements will be Ronan Kelleher, Paddy McCarthy, and Finlay Beelum. Ken Pendergrass will be the lock and or flanker replacement, with Jack Conan being the flanker replacement. Craig Casey will get the nod at scrum half, with his Munster partner there, Jack Crowley, being at 10, and then a center replacement in Tom Farrell. This is the 23-man squad for Ireland. Now, moving on to the one we've all been waiting for. Dr. Rassie Erasmus has blessed us with a 23-man squad to take on Ireland once again, to try and change the fate that we've had against the Irish. Front row consisting of Bohan Venter, the magician Malcolm Marks, and Thomas Tatoy. The boogeyman, Eben Etzebeth, retakes his place in the number 4 jersey. He will be matched up with the guy that plays like he's got 70 caps but doesn't, Ruan Norkia, the bull. Super Sia Khaleesi will be captaining the side in the number 6 jersey, with his opposite Peter Steff to tackle, and at number 8, Jasper Feza. The veteran Kobus Rainek will get the start at scrum half, with his partner in crime Sasha Feinberg Mngomozulu, the leading scorer in the Rugby Championship. To the midfield, we go with the familiar duo of Damien Dialendi, the Milnerton grad, and the kid from the KZN, Jesse Creel. The back three will consist of Cheslin Colby at number 11, Kanan Movie at number 14, and anchoring it all off, Gaza, a.k.a. Damien Falemsa. A 6-2 split, 5-3 split, 4-4 split, however you want to look at it. It's 6-2 on paper for Rassie Erasmus and the Springboks. We'll have Johan Krobler coming in as the hooker replacement, with Gerhard Steenekamp and Vilko Lowe, the 2 prop replacements. Arhe Snyman, the Viking himself, will be the lock replacement, with the microwave Quokka Smith and the hybrid kid Andre Esterhuizen rounding out the forward replacements. Speedy Grant Williams will be the scrum half replacement, and of course at fly half, Manny Libok. So I have put up a graphic containing both teams here, and there are a couple of really interesting combinations I do want to look at here, and the biggest one being at hooker. The starting hookers for both of these teams are both world class. If you were to put me up to it and say you have to pick a starting number 2 and you put these two, I would say push. I'm taking both of them. We know the capability. The leading forward scorer for the Springboks in history is Malcolm Marks, but you cannot go without looking at Dan Sheehan and what that man can do with the ball. This man moves like a flanker. I have often told Irish fans, you need to treat this gentleman as a generational talent, because that's exactly what you have in Dan Sheehan. You have a generational talent. That's the really big lineup, and then the other one I wanted to bring in is the starting 10s. Now, I have often, you guys know that I am a Munster supporter when it comes to Irish rugby, and I've often said that I prefer Jack Crowley to Sam Prendergast. And I think if Ireland was wanting to make the best decision going forward, they should have started Jack Crowley against Sasha Feinberg and Mngomozulu, because they have so much in common. You will see both Feinberg and Crowley. They will go in the guts. They get in the shit. They get in the dark places. They're mixing it up. They're not afraid of getting dirty to do their job. We've seen it with Sasha. He will tackle. He will run up the guts. He will evade tackles. He'll take tackles. Not to say that Sam Prendergast is terrible. I just think he matches up with a guy like Manny Libok as well. They're much more known for their distribution skills than they are their defensive skills. And I think this could turn ugly very fast. If you're going to try and match up Sam Prendergast versus Sasha Feinberg, it's going to be Sasha Feinberg all day. He simply has too many variables that Sam Prendergast does not have. I think the other interesting matchup will be the scrum halves, the starting scrum halves for both sides. I think Kobus Rainek has really found a second wind in his later years. The likelihood of him going to the next World Cup is very low. He's over the age of 35. But he has really found a second wind here in his years. And we've got some injuries. We've got Hendricks out. Morne Vandenberg is getting there. I just don't think he's all the way there yet. We still have Faf de Klerk, although I often debate whether we're ever going to see him playing the green and gold again. Just a side note, congratulations. He just had his second child, I believe, with his wife. So congratulations, Faf, being a father once again. And I just think that with these combinations, we've got a good chance here. We're also going to look at the midfield here. Obviously, Bundy Aki, Gary Ringrose. Bundy Aki being kind of the veteran player, probably will not make the next World Cup. Gary Ringrose, very, very new guy. You know, not a new player, but a younger guy. And we've got DLND and Creel. Now, I've always spoke highly of Bundy Aki, except for, you know, whenever I want to talk crap about how he's a Kiwi playing for Ireland. But as a player, he is world class. I enjoy him. I prefer him off the bench, though, to be completely honest with you. He's so much more explosive in that last 20 minutes, and I think that's going to be the real difference here. In the past, you know, a lot of people wanted to select Handré Pollard for this. I did not. We would kick you to death in the past. If you go and look at the Springbok games this year, we bury people in the last 20, 25 minutes of every game now. It's no longer 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. We might do that for the first couple of, 30 minutes of the game, but after that, it's try scoring. I love Andre. He still has a place on the team, but when it comes to this, one couldn't help but go back to Wellington, New Zealand. It was these young guys in the back that got that historic victory. Manny Libok owns the All Blacks. I'm not going to say the word that a lot of these kids use because I don't think any man should ever say that about another man. Yeah, daddy. No, you don't call any man. You don't lick your lips and stare at a man, and you don't call another man daddy. That's it's a little suspect. But they owned the All Blacks. The All Blacks beat Ireland. They're living on a lot of this, like, oh, well, we beat you in the past. Dude, this 2025 team is better than the 2024 team. It's better than the 2023 team. It's better than the 2019 team. The Springboks are not simply one-dimensional anymore. It's no longer the forward pack grounding and pounding and we kick you to death. It's the forward pack grounding and pounding and then the youngsters in the back just run circles around you. We saw it in the game against France when Sia shouted out to Sasha, they're tired. They're tired. Go. Go. That's what we do. And I think that's where our strength lies in this game. Our bench, in my opinion, is exponentially stronger than their bench. Yes, they have Crowley. Yes, they have Casey. They do have Pendergrass, these guys on the bench. But I don't think they have the caliber that we have. And I think it's something that, we can all talk cuck about Ireland all we want. The reality is that for the player pool they have and the size that they are, they punch far above their weight. Far above their weight. And we have the luxury as South African supporters, as South African fans, of being able to have a massive player pool and not have to go through the growing pains, because that's what they're going through right now. They lost Peter O'Meny, Connor Murray last year. Peter O'Meny, one of their most decorated, most capped flankers ever, and an absolute gentleman of the game, as we saw in the Barbarians versus South Africa game earlier this year. They lost a lot of experience with those guys. They lost Sexton a year earlier. This is a team that's going through growing pains, and they don't have the luxury that we have as Springboks and as South Africa of having the player pool that we have. They're going to go through growing pains. We don't have to go through those growing pains. Now, a lot of the predictions have said, you've got the Irish, we're going to smash you again, and you've got a lot of South Africans saying, I'm going to be completely honest, and I'm going to level with each and every one of you. Ireland does not have a chance. From what I've seen through 3 games with them versus what I've seen through 3 games with us, they do not have a chance. This is not 2024. This is not Durban 2024. It's not. This team is firing on all cylinders right now. We played and won 2 games with 14 guys, 1.13 guys. Granted, it was Italy. I will hand them that. It was Italy. But we beat France, and you could say, well, it was without Tampon Dupas. One man does not make a difference. You need any proof of that? We won a World Cup without Malcolm Marx. We're winning games without Oxenche, a World Player of the Year nominee. We do have Kurt Leorenza. I have heard that he did take a head knock in trainings. He will be out. I do want to bring up one last thing about this lineup. The interesting part of having Kanan Moody and Esterhuizen not listed as centers. Because I could seriously see at one point Esterhuizen moving back to 12, Alendi comes off, Moody moves into 13, and Krill moves out to wing. I would love to see Krill and James Lowe. I would really, although I don't think Kanan Moody is going to have any issue with James Lowe. But I'd like to see Krill and James Lowe. Just because I just want to see that. But like I said, I don't think Ireland has a chance. I am predicting a Springbok victory by no less than 14 points. I'd love to be right. I'd love to actually be wrong. I'd like us to beat them by more than that, but I think it's going to be 14 points minimum we beat them. Do I think we get a red card early in the game? No, because I think all eyes are going to be on this game, unless we really deserve it, and I don't think we will. Eben's not quite as fierce and aggressive as he used to be. He still got his skills, but yeah, that's my prediction. We'll be back. I will be out at the Cotton Gin tomorrow Saturday in Prosper, Texas, watching the game with other South Africans, so hopefully I'll get some footage for you guys for that, for the post-game video. We've got multiple other games going on this weekend. We've got the All Blacks with I guess what would be an experimental squad for them taking on Wales, who will be taking on the following weekend. We've got Argentina and England. England still riding high on their defeat of the All Blacks, because I guess not very many teams do that anymore. Oh yeah, everybody does that now. I mean, Argentina's done it, we've done it. So they're still riding high. I'll give my prediction for that one. I think Argentina pushes them and might actually beat them. I could see it happening. We see Pablo Matera coming off the bench against Scotland, and absolutely, speaking of Scotland, they will be taking on Tonga, so they'll be able to get a win out of this. And Australia will be taking on France. I think France will beat the Breaks. I don't think it's because Australia is bad. I think it's because they're tired. So with that being said, I will talk to you guys again very soon. Cheers, guys.